Hello everyone, Strengthson here, and today I just wanted to show you a bit of a new course I'm working on. This is a 100% puzzle course. There's no maze, there's no parkour. I keep on seeing people who go to the puzzle section and say that they really want a puzzle and not a parkour puzzle or a maze puzzle. So we'll see how much they like what they ask for once this is complete. Currently I only have 3 of the mechanisms built. I want to get 7 total in. And the 3 that I have built were originally designed for the co-op project from Yurik and myself. That was meant to be a hardcore replacement. The map called Forsaken. And that should tell you a little bit about the difficulty that is aimed for with these puzzles. They are not nice in any sense of the word. So in this first puzzle, part of the I say at the beginning, of course, part of the puzzle is to figure out what you're supposed to do. But I figure that if you're going to spend the time, watching me on here, you should get something from it instead of just, oh yeah, I watched a video, okay, it gave me some entertainment. So the point of this puzzle is you have the clues on these 3 walls, and then an interpretation of them on the walls below them. I'm not going to show you that part right now. And you're supposed to use what information you have to solve for this wall. Now this wall is, you can change what the number is up there by pushing a button down. Oh no, this wall right here, sorry. You choose your answer up on this side by the button down here right there. And you're trying to figure out what these torches mean. I'm not going to tell you what the torches mean here because that would be kind of cheaty, but your whole goal in this puzzle is to interpret the torches and figure out what number, letter, whatever has to be up here. And that button is how you change it up here. I'm sorry I can't get it to scroll both ways. I have no idea how to do that currently, so too bad for that idea. If I figure out how to do it, I'll implement it later, and that'll make things a little bit easier to go through. Okay. Going from there to the next part. Now, each one of these puzzles has a forced randomization after solving, so I don't have to worry about people getting together on Skype to give each other answers, because there's no way they can avoid those pressure plates. I've tested that very extensively. So they'll hit the pressure plates and go down this long hallway. And now I'm going to talk like this. Yeah. Don't know why I decided to talk like that. I'm strange like that sometimes. Into this puzzle here. Now this is based off of a puzzle from one of my favorite game series, Myst. This is from Myst 3 Exile. If you played that game, you might recognize it as semi-similar to a puzzle from Voltaic Age. And the goal of this is to get the signal to go from this wall to that wall on the 3 sides. Now you can only change things from this top side here. I don't want to do it from the other side simply because I don't want any chance of people messing it up for each other that way. And I also don't really know if I can do it successfully. Now, a lot of work went into making this. Now, it's very hard to fit any kind of logic gate that's vertical in that small space, especially since I have to worry about torch burnout. Now, some people use torch burnout in their circuits. I don't like that. To me, it is a very cheap thing to do. It can cause so many problems, and it can cause server lag. Oh my god, why is that guy shouting so much? But anyway, you get all these set up, and Again, another pressure plate. This one's right outside the door. And when it's solved, it will actually close the door and randomize it in a different way than the other puzzles. And then the third one is another Exile-themed puzzle. If you played Exile, you'll recognize this symbol as the lights, the Narayan light puzzle. Geez, no matter how many times I've gone through this, I still find obsidian blocks blocking the lights. And the purpose of the obsidian on this is just to make it a little bit more difficult for someone who's down here pushing the buttons. I wanted to make it so that they would actually want to go upstairs again to see what they made, because the symbols are all really neat looking. I'm going to turn off all the lights. Now this puzzle took me the longest to set up, simply because for whatever reason there was a lot of server block lag, and I would get pieces of redstone that looked like they were placed on my screen, but according to the server they weren't actually placed. And anyone in chat that night can tell you that I had quite a lot of venting in the chat. So once you solve that one again, you get a reset plate. This one's a little bit further out simply because I couldn't get it any closer. But I'm not worried about that too much. I do have one other puzzle planned for this. I have not built it as of yet, and it's involving the player direction detection. So that one's going to be fun to put in. Now, just in case anyone's interested, here's the circuitry. I don't have any problems with showing people the circuitry on this, because even if you see it, there's no way you're going to be able to solve the puzzle based off of what you see here. Even if you understand redstone, unless you actually walk through this and see all the connections firsthand, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to determine what everything does. And if there's ever a problem in this, I'm going to be taking over an hour to fix it, simply because of tracking down redstone. Oh, noisy doggies. Now let's look at this one over here. Now this one I want to show off because of how I had to do the randomization. Because there aren't multiple solution sets when you're using piston tapes like this, you have to find a way to randomly move them around. And the best way I could think of to do that was a linear forward shift register, which is used quite often in pseudo-random number generation, but it does have a problem where it does repeat over time. I'm not worried about that so much because I don't think people are going to want to go through this more than once. And it's not like they're going to die and have to start all the way over again. And the only thing I'm really concerned about this is how long the previous puzzle will take. Now that is a problem simply because this is right here is how it does the randomization. It uses this to tell it how far through to go through with the linear forward shift register. And someone messed with it, so that's powered. So when it first gets triggered, when the reset line gets triggered, that is, it sends a pulse through to this hopper clock, and it also sends a pulse over to this RS NOR latch, which starts the process of sending signal through. A signal line gets lit, and then the first time the clock goes through to power this line, it resets the RS NOR after briefly unpowering these repeaters here. Stupid little dog. And it's very slow. I mean, it can only go forward every time the clock goes around. And the reason I need to do that is because the estimated time for the piston tape to completely fire one cycle is 1.5 seconds. And because of how servers tend to lag redstone, that could be anywhere from 1 second to 3 seconds long. So as long as I have the hopper controlling this part, I won't run into any issues of the pistons breaking. Now if we go up to, let's see, where is it? This one. This is the same light display circuit I've shown previously. Again, you're not going to learn anything by looking at this here, so I'm not afraid of people being able to solve it based off of this. The main difference I have is this right here. Now, if you watched my video where I took on Seth Bling's Redstone Challenge map, you'll recognize this right here. Ever since doing that, I've been playing with this a lot, figuring out different applications for it, and this is by far the best application for it I've had so far. Because the amount of redstone that it took before to accomplish this same process was ridiculous, and I was relying on an odd number piston tape, which, as I've stated before, is very prone to breaking. It broke on me so many times that it was not worth doing anymore. I was actually considering leaving this puzzle out of Forsaken simply because I couldn't get it to work properly. But this circuit is very helpful. Right now I have it limited to 12 positions. And an easy way to reset it back to 12 is this mechanism right here. This line coming off right here will tell the system when the signal coming out of the memory lock here, and that's what I'm going to call it, memory lock. The signal coming out of that is 0, which will retract this piston, which is a sticky piston, pull that block over, and this hopper has exactly 260 blocks of cobblestone, which outputs a signal strength of 12, which is just enough for this. However, there's one section where I actually needed a signal strength of 16, which is not possible with redstone. So I had to adapt it a little bit. In this one right here, this is the answer selection where you scroll through to find the answer that you want. I actually used a signal strength of 0 as one of the 16. So once this part is unpowered, it lets this torch light up, which turns off this torch, which turns on this torch, which turns off that torch, and the rest is history. Now the reason it doesn't cause the reset is because of this AND gate right here. Now when the signal comes through, it creates a single tick pulse through a monostable circuit. This one I use the piston form, so sticky piston right there, because pistons have a 2-tick delay. Having a signal go through causes a 1-tick signal because it stays down long enough for it to go through once. And since this torch right here is powered, because this line is unpowered, it will not reset until this line is powered, which will turn off this torch, which will allow this torch to turn off. Simple AND gate logic there. Now the amount of time that goes into programming these circuits, it can be quite ridiculous. I don't know about anyone else watching this, but for me, translating numbers first into a display style and then into the corresponding signal style here, I was having a hard time wrapping my head around it, which was taking quite a while on that part. For the next puzzle in the chronology of the course, I can't think of the next stage puzzle, maybe, I don't know. I can't think of the proper wording right now. For the next puzzle on, the programming it was quite a bit easier because I just had to put down a non-transparent block for areas the signal goes through, then a transparent block where the signal does not go through, and then run the LFSR a couple times to be able to have it randomize. The last puzzle was the most ridiculous to program simply because of block lag. of the server. I don't know what was going on that night, but I would put a piece of redstone down, I'd get the sound as usual. I'd come back later and it was gone. No other ops were in my area, I was quite sure of that. And I had to restart programming every time that happened because it caused piston tapes not to move, and I wasn't sure which ones had moved and hadn't moved at that point. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun building. Hopefully it'll be just as much fun going through. So yeah, as I said, I do hope to get 7 total puzzles in it. I have 1 more that I know I'm going to be building for it right now, so that leaves 3 more to build. I'm a little bit concerned about the amount of redstone update lag, simply because of the amount of redstone in each of these individual puzzles. But I'm hoping that at least one of the 7 will be non-redstone or very little redstone in it. So that's all I really wanted to go over for today. If anyone has any questions, comments, suggestions for this, keep in mind I'm not going to give you solutions, but if you could post them, I'd be grateful to read them and respond to them. And thank you guys for watching. Hope you had a great day.